Hello, everybody. We are live. Welcome to the boomrz Show, Candid Conversations with my sexties. Say hello to Diane. Hopefully, Mel will be
Hi,
joining us.
everybody.
Hey, and Pam's going to be a little late. So, I do
Yeah.
want to start off with a motivational quote. It says, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. And that was by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, a German man. But I love the idea of starting something and the boldness in it and the genius and power and magic in it. So do you feel powerful and bold, Miss Diane, what your show did, Kitchen?
Oh, Kathy, let me tell you something. I almost. Why don't? Can you just read that first line again?
Yes, it says whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. And then boldness has genius, power, and magic in it.
You know what? It really does. And the reason I asked you to read that again because when I was looking today, I was just thinking about along those lines. Since we're talking about spirituality, I was thinking about how the word says, "Whatsoever you find to do it with all your might." That's where that boldness come in, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where that boldness come in. And if you ask me, do I feel? I do kind of feel a little empowered because I'm like, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm doing it anyway because I can do it. So it is empowering, and it does take boldness to put yourself out there, especially when you don't know what you're doing. I'm telling you, every time I put a video out there, I'm like, boy, what they go. It's like, you know what? It is what it is. I done that. It's out there. Move on.
Well, you know what?
I like that quote. I like that. I like that you shared that.
So to tie into what you were just saying, I have somebody gave this to me at work. I think this was a Secret Santa gift years ago, and I kept it on my desk. And of course, I brought it home. And I want to just put up what it says. The key to success. Wait, there we go.
I see
Is
it. It is
following God's
pretty.
guidance with an actual key, right?
Yes.
I kept that on my desk, but it also came with a set of cards that had a
Wow.
little daily message. So interestingly enough, I was flipping through them because I did want to show this, but I was flipping through the cards and I came across this one and kind of ties into what you said. So this one says, and this is from let's see, Lord have mercy, Colossians. Uh, Interestingly enough, chapter 3, verses 23 and 24. So, 323 is my birthday. So it's almost perfect or
Oh,
20 that
okay.
I picked it. But it
323.
says, whatever you do, work at it with your whole heart, as working for the Lord and not for men, knowing
Yes.
that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance for you serve the Lord Christ. So do
Yes.
it with your whole heart, whatever you do, you know.
And not only that, for some reason, I was searching the scriptures for it because that word "do" kept sticking out to me. So let me share this scripture because it says in Psalms 1 and 3, and I always cling to that. It said, They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing." And that psalm is referring to, it says that people, those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. But I always cling to, he said, I shall be fruitful in my old age. I shall bear fruit. in my old age. And then along that line, it says in Ecclesiastics, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might, for there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. So I always keep in mind it says, whatsoever your hands find to do, do it with all thy might. And I was just running these scriptures on what your hands find it to do, because it's a blessing. And it
Mm,
started with this. It says, be thankful. This is what I wrote for today. Be thankful for somewhere to go and something to do. Be thankful for that. If
yeah.
you got you is be thankful, because when I get up, as far as okay, what am I going to do? Or I can't say to myself anymore, I can't say I'm bored, I don't have anything to do. Yes, I do, because he's given me this. He's saying, okay, you can do this. You can, for real. You say, you can make another video. You got everything you need if you want to make another video. You can find something in your pantry and make another video. Even if you don't post it right away, you can make another video. You can do this. You can research that. You can do this. So it's a blessing, because several months ago, I didn't have this to do. I was wondering, looking, finding some purpose or something to do. But yeah, so it's just about, what, that was a good opening that you did.
Well, um when you mentioned not being bored, my philosophy forever and a day has been to not use that word to describe myself. I would never
Mm.
I will never describe myself as bored or depressed.
Hmm.
But because my philosophy is, especially as a grown person with a house full of stuff, there is always something that I could find to do. Now, the choice is, do I want to do it or not? Do I feel
Yes,
inclined to
yes,
do it or not? But not like there
yes,
is nothing ever to do. Even if I'm reading a book, that's something to do. So
yeah,
there is
yeah.
always something to do. The thing is, what am I going to choose on the list of choices? What am I feeling
True.
that
Exactly,
particular day or in that
exactly,
particular moment?
exactly.
And and sometimes it's just being idle, but I think that's okay. But I never think of myself as bored, per se. You know what I mean? um,
That's a good point. That's a good point. That word came to me. That's a good point, because I always, you're right. It's always something to do, because in my mind, like I'm saying, okay, you got some puzzles up there you haven't even started.
see,
You haven't, right, because that's always in the back of my mind. You got some puzzles you haven't even started. You
yeah.
know, and things. And
Or
so
something, and so it's like you have something you could do, you just choose
exactly,
not to do it in that moment. So
exactly,
it's still
exactly.
a choice as opposed to no
It's
choice at all. It's
right.
still a choice.
It's still, it's still, it's still a choice.
Hmm.
Yes. So
Hmm.
I like, yeah, that I like that about that boldness, because it takes some boldness, it takes some courage, it takes some faith
Yeah,
to
because they
step
say
out
faith
on
without
faith.
works is dead. So you got to have the
Exactly,
faith part, but you still got to
exactly,
do some work. You have to
exactly,
do something to move the ball down the field. Along with what
exactly.
else is going to come with it. So you can't
Yes.
just sit there. Like it amazes me sometimes that people will sit and then I shouldn't question anybody's faith, but for
Mm-mm.
instance, want a man in their life and think that he's going to come and knock on the door. They sit at home day after day, week after week, month after month, and not giving themselves not allowing the opportunity that the Lord could present if you just got up out your house. Because I just don't know too many men that's going to come knock on the door and say, somebody said you was looking for somebody. You know what I mean? You have to do something, and then he will, do the rest and put it along, especially if that's part of his guidance. But, to just sit and do nothing, don't expect anything. You know.
Exactly. And you know what? You hear this often in sermons. I used to hear this often in church. You know, God cannot, you can't steer a parked car. Okay. You can't, what you do with a boat? You can't steer a boat that's parked, that's sit there in the harbor. It's not until you get to start moving in some direction that God can truly start to guide you.
Now that's a great analogy. That is a great analogy because for real, if you are parked on the curb until you start moving, what is he supposed to do? You know,
Exactly.
he
Right.
if he wants to help you along, he's got to see what direction you try to go in. You know, especially if you're not pointing in the direction that he trying to point you in. But it's the
Exactly.
same
And
thing with the boat. Yeah,
exactly.
he can't get you to your destination until you get out of the harbor.
Exactly. And then a lot of times that people we would use the analogy like the GPS. You know your GPS not gonna start giving you directions anyway until you start moving. You know, it's
Right.
gonna set it knows where you are. It got your
Yeah.
eye on that. It is your eyes on it. Okay, like his eye is on the sparrow. That GPS got their eye right there on that spot that you're on,
Right.
and it's not gonna start giving you directions until you
Plug in a destination and
exactly,
start to
exactly,
move because it's not
exactly,
still, like you said, just plugging in the destination is not enough. You've actually
exactly,
got to start moving
exactly,
the vehicle for the
exactly,
GPS to
exactly.
actually work. So
Absolutely.
yes,
You can say all day long, this is where I want to go. But until you start moving in that direction, you're not finna get any guidance on how to get there. Or if
yeah,
you really should, or if this is the direction you should be going in. Is this the place you really should be wanting to go? You know, so that's that helps. Oftentimes that helped me a lot. To, and when I'm kind of stuck in a decision mode and stuff, and it helps me. I say sometimes I'd be like, Lord, I'm just going to move in this direction, this way, until you guide me, or in another direction,
right.
and it's the same way I have to apply it every day. I'm like, okay, so what I'm going to do next? Say for example, I got a thought right now, something that I want to make next, and my mindset, it just keep coming to me, to make it. But I'm like, no, I'm done this and that. But you know what I said to myself? Make it. Get it out your system and get it over with. Go on and do it, and put it out there, and whatever it be, you'll know. And
Yeah,
and don't harper on it. Either get it out your system, or get it over with. That's how you keep things moving. I don't have time really to be lingering too much over or pondering too many things. You
yeah.
put that stuff in form, you know.
Yeah. And I think that's the right approach because I would be thinking the same thing. You know, if it keeps coming to me to do this, it must be meant for me to go ahead and do it. So let me go ahead and do this so that I can uh, move on to the next thing. You know,
Exactly.
yeah. So I
Exactly.
move on to the next
And
thing.
see what's next.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. I
So I
agree.
got a question. What's your spiritual how do you define spirituality?
Good question. I define spirituality as a connection with the universe, the known and the unknown. Um, so I look at spirituality, I guess, a slightly little different way than um, being religious because I
Hmm.
try to incorporate all of what people could possibly be, believing in terms of religion. But to me, it all kind of comes down to a few basic principles, believing in a higher power, a foundation of love, generosity, that type of thing. Um, but also understanding that God is in everything, the tree's just everything. And so things can come to you naturally and also supernaturally. So to me, it is the I don't know how to, accurately, I guess, say it, since I haven't been asked that to, to answer it, but that's kind of my belief, is kind of incorporates everything, um, the natural and the supernatural, and being tuned into it, to it all, or trying to be tuned into to that.
The reason I asked because I Googled, I looked it up a definition, because of it, just to see, how it compared to how my thought is of it. And I came across this one. Spirituality is the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. It involves the recognition there is something greater than myself. So just like when you just put that in about God, you already recognize, there's someone
Something
greater
bigger.
than yourself. But I thought this definition was interesting because it talks about the spirit of man, the
Yeah.
spirit of man and the soul. And I thought that was interesting because it made me think about how our faith feeds our 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 spirit, our spiritual side, how
Mm.
that word feels, spiritual side, and all these materialistic things. That's feed our fleshy side, our humans. But anyway, that's what I thought. I was just curious about the definition of spirituality, because it really is about our spirit. It really is about our soul. It really is about our inner man.
Hmm.
That's what spirituality is. It is,
Yeah.
you know. And I think based on that definition, it doesn't in the big scheme of things, to me, as far as in general, it doesn't have anything so much to do with religion as with your inner self,
Yeah.
based on this
But
definition. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got a spiritual side, but not everybody might be into, everybody have their own different place and their own different, so I'm just thinking, I was just pondering spirituality.
no, no, it's good. I'm glad you looked up the definition, so people could
Mhm.
actually hear that definition, because it still doesn't it sound familiar, though, being concerned with your spirit and your your inner world, as opposed to the fleshly and the outside things. Then that sound familiar? You know what I mean? So it's, to me,
Yeah,
it's a it's like, I don't know, religion may be the bud of the flower, but it's that whole spirituality thing for real. It's the caring about the whole person, uh, you
yeah,
know, internally, and not just I don't know, not just the confined limits of what they tell you should be, depending on what
yeah,
religion you're following,
yeah,
what book you're going
yeah.
by.
And
You
not
know,
only
it won't
that,
be the
because
Bible or the Quran.
and the reason I wanted to define that is because you got people out here that don't have religion, but they are spiritual. They're about, you know what they're still
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
spiritual. And you may have people out here that don't believe in someone greater, as we believe. It's so many different faiths and religions out here and things, but basically it's about feeding your spirit, because at some point material things will not do when it comes to
Well, here's an
the,
interesting perspective. So, because you were talking about how people like envision it, and I have for a while now, I think, defined myself as spiritual rather than as a religious person. Um, and if I think back to when we're young and we're coming up and we have the pictures, the ideas, the impression, everything that says that that God is a man. And when we were coming up, in most everybody's place, he was a white man, right? um necessarily neither here nor there, but just putting a face on him, you know, um, where I think that, and I know it says in the Bible we were made in his image and everything, but I just think of him as being bigger than just the image. To me, for him, is bigger than just that person. It's really all encompassing. And so that's why I feel a more, spiritual thing. For instance, I get now, like people will say, if they go out in the wilderness and they almost feel, you can stand in certain spots and almost feel like you're in a cathedral or in church, God's natural church. And I understand that now, so um, I think the one feeds, and I think they're a little fluid, but just a tiny little bit different.
Yeah, and as far as the spirituality, I don't view myself or call or myself in terms of spirituality. I don't define myself as a spiritual. Now, this is what I will say about myself. I'm a woman of faith. That's who I am.
But that's a good description.
Exactly. I'm a woman of faith. That's it, And that came about too, I realized, because I used to go to they used to have these women of faith conferences. They still might have them. And I used to go to those, but I have come to define myself and know myself as a woman of faith.
That's a good one. I like that. I like that. A woman of faith.
That's right. Women of faith. That's the name of the conference. It used to be women of faith. So.
Well, curiously enough, I think in our little group of 60s, I think we are all women of faith,
Yes.
It's funny how birds of a feather flock together. Because,
I mean, really. And you know what? I think most people, or most women, that paths that we cross, I think the majority of them, most of them are when you get to a certain age. I mean, the younger ones, that they're still, I didn't know this stuff. I didn't know who I was back in my 20s or anything like that. I had to travel and go through things to get to this point, to be able to define myself as a woman of faith, because that's what I know it took for me to get to this point. And I ain't talking about a lot of faith. I'm talking about
faith of a mustard seed.
Now, and sometimes faith not even the size of the mustard seed, smaller than the mustard seed. You know what I'm saying? Really.
Look, all you need is to expect, though. It's like the coronavirus. Right, all you need is to expect.
Exactly.
It will.
Exactly. But sometimes about that faith of that mustard seed. But there have been times where I didn't have that size faith. And that but that little speck, it just like it wasn't even like the grain, because the mustard seed, you can still see that, but the kind of faith I couldn't see. The kind of faith I had start, I couldn't see it, girl. Yeah, I don't even have to tell you that. That's a journey. Oh, Kathy, that is such a journey.
It is. I agree completely. It is. It is a learning process.
Lord.
Some people come to it naturally, but I think most of us have to go through a journey and arrive at that destination.
I don't know anybody that comes through naturally. I don't know anybody that came. I don't know anybody that came through it natural. I don't think. I don't know. Somebody that just can come through. They might seem like it came natural, but you never know what a person is struggling. You never know what is taking for that person. Some people, you never know what that person had to go through to even come across as it's coming to you so natural. It's like people say we used to sing this song, say you don't know my story, or you don't know the things that I've been through. I don't know the stuff that you've been through since way back when. You know what I'm saying? Since you don't know. You don't know. But whatever it is, it had to, whatever got you through, it had to feed your spirit, strengthen, encourage your soul, and feed your spirit and give you that strength that you needed in your spirit to keep going, you
Yeah.
know.
And I think you're right. So I think I misspoke. So I pull that
No,
statement
you
back
didn't.
about
Man,
whether
no,
they got it
I'm not
naturally or
saying
not.
that.
Because yeah, because
No.
it really is a earned or learned. Is what I was.
Exactly.
So I don't think it
You
comes
right.
naturally. I do think it is earned or learned. Hmm.
Right. It is. It's earned or
And usually
learned.
a combination of both.
Yeah. And you know what? That stuff that you learn, girl. Oh Lord. When they used to hear those older women, they say in church, they'll say, when you know that 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 you know, that's where I'm coming to, have come to in my life. There's some things I can claim, I can walk in now. And this is how I can do what I'm doing, because there are some things that I know, that
Yeah.
I straight up know, and I don't even have to question it, and I don't even have to see it. And that one thing that I'm starting to know more and more and more in my life is God. Is, so it's that thing, it's just some stuff that you know. Now I'm stepping out here in this here water, I'm doing this here stuff. But see, here's the thing, and I can believe way beyond, because I know what his word says about his ways and his thoughts and what he thinks toward me. But one thing I do know about God, I truly believe him to be a God of miracles, signs, and wonders. And what I do know is you cannot place any limits on him, period.
Right.
You
On
can't.
what he can do
Yes.
in your
And
life.
so I'm like, Lord, then why? You know what? I just as well gone and think big, dream big, and hope big, and hope against all hope, hope in the impossible, because that's the kind of God that you are.
Yeah.
That's what feeds my spirit.
Yeah.
That's what feeds my spirit. I don't have, those are kind of things that we talk about spirituality, because he's a big and he's awesome. But that's my faith, you know, and everybody else, you know, that's my faith. And there's different religions out there, and that's fine. I'm not, but that's my faith. That's what get me through. That's what keep me from being discouraged. That's what keep me from, when the thought come to me saying, why are you doing this? You too old for this. You too old to be looking this cute. I'm like, my God is a big, awesome God. You know what he said? He will beautify.
And
He
you
will
know
beautify
what?
the new.
I hope that you haven't sat in front of the mirror and thought to yourself, you too old to be looking cute. Really? Who says that? Oh,
No,
because
for real, but I'm just trying to.
I
Okay, I'm
slap them.
right. But right, so you slap the enemy then, because that's how the enemy will do. And you better know, when you start moving, the enemy moving right along with you.
Right. And right. Paying attention,
Exactly.
they're going to send you a few surprises.
Exactly. Or he
Hmm.
gonna try to, even though you could do, he gonna steal, but thump, thump. You just have to thump. So
Right. Right. You
you
got to
got you got to
recognize what's
recognize
mouth.
exactly. You got
Because
to
I
recognize
still
those.
make that motion sometimes. I actually still do that sometimes. Get off, get off, get off.
Exactly. You got to recognize those fiery darts. And this is what I appreciate about our older women, those women that older than we are, and appreciate, and they still moving, they still going on. They got stories to tell. You know what? That's encouraging. That's inspiring. So it's like I got to just keep on keeping on. You know, it's no joke out here, girl. It's no joke. And you almost be like, you know what? I don't want to be. I just feel like you gotta do something, and it starts with your spirit. It
Yeah.
does.
And I think life is all about the doing as opposed to the not doing. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? To feel like you're living, you need to be doing something. I
Exactly.
don't care how mundane it is, but doing something. Some task or something that you feel like you need to do for a particular day or a particular week or a particular month. Um, Something that'll get you out of the bed in the morning. You know,
That's right.
other than that
That's
cup
right.
of coffee.
And don't get out of that bed and wash your face and brush your teeth and put on some makeup if you have to. I would throw on a dress just just to stay, you know what, if it means throwing on a dress that I normally just wear to church, or I just normally would wear a special occasion, some days you know what, I do that sometimes just to do it. You know what, just say, hey,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what, why not?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
why
Especially
not?
with what we were going through in the past year. I think a lot of people were trying to break out of the mold. So I saw a lot of pictures of women that would dress up just to walk
Yes,
down to the mailbox. And I'm like, and
exactly.
I had the same feeling. Why not? You know what I'm
Why
saying?
not?
Why not?
You
Yeah.
got that stuff hanging up in there anyway. You and
You
that
might as
helped me to.
well wear it.
I ain't gotta wait. I ain't gotta wait to this occasion or that
Thank you.
occasion.
Thank you.
You know what?
That was
Who
my
says?
whole
Who,
thought about it.
who,
You don't have to wait for an
right,
occasion to wear your stuff.
right. Who
That's
says
why
I
when I
gotta
do a
wait?
show in the evening, if I don't have to work, a lot of times I don't have to work on Thursday. And so I'm dressed casual throughout the day. But when it gets
Hmm.
close to showtime, I got to make sure I powder my face, make sure my hair looking all right, put some makeup, some earrings on, and put on a top that's, looking like something, and try to change it up, not just come, looking any kind of way. I got to,
Right.
try to represent. So, yeah, I just, I came from a house where, my mother, when she came out of the bedroom, basically, it was that thing. Her hair was going to be combed, she was going to have
I
washed her
never
face
saw.
and brushed her teeth. And then here's the other thing, and make the freaking bed up. Because at the end of the day, it's nothing like walking to the bed and knowing that, because otherwise you look like you just rolled out of bed, and you
Exactly.
get ready to go back. My mother and father worked in a hotel. Make the bed up. So that is
Exactly.
still a thing with me after all these years. Even if I get
Exactly.
the cover, it don't have to be neat, but it's got to look like I got out of the bed.
Exactly. Two things. I never saw your mother ever, ever. Do you hear me? Ever, ever, ever. Any other way but made up. There may have been one little time, barely, but I don't remember that. But I never saw her any other way. And in my mind, she was about the only woman I never ever saw like that. I mean,
Jazzy
it
Georgia.
was, it was consistent.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, anytime, any day, anytime it was consistent, period. And so I think about that sometimes.
That was her
She was
brand,
consistent.
and she represented that
Exactly,
brand.
exactly.
And that
And
stuck with me. And I think me and my sisters, we all got a little version or a taste of that. But I do think about that even now. And so um, I've tried to adjust a little more because I got into the habit a little bit, especially over the past year, running to the store just with whatever you got on. But I'm making a concerted habit to try to go out and at least um, look decent and not just, any old thing.
yeah, and then when I go out now, if when I go out, I feel like now I'm at the age I can look how, you know what, I can look like, if I looked a little dressed up, you know what, I can do. I don't be overdressed, but I don't. I might look like, okay, I put together a nice little outfit, and just going to the store. I do that sometimes, just because I can, but I do it more and more these days, because now I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to, okay, I'm making myself wear my clothes more often.
As opposed to,
Particular clothes
yes,
that are
saving them. It's like,
exactly
what are we
right,
saving them for?
exactly,
So,
exactly. Stuff that I might have wore to work, or kind of, or just say, okay, I'm just gonna wear. I say, you know what? No, I'm gonna just wear my stuff. I just took some stuff to the Goodwill. But another thing is talking about spirituality and making up that bed. That makes a difference. I have to make up my bed every single day. I can't have my bed, my covers thrown off. It's just, I have to have that bed made up. And I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't start out that way. I learned how I learned that. I got that from Lewis, because
or me,
Lewis,
right?
Lewis would make up the bed, and I wasn't used to that, because our beds didn't hardly get made up in our house, because it was so many of us. But my whole point is, I didn't start out that way. I learned that from him. He
Mhm.
always, I ain't never have to he'll make up their bed, because that's how Miss Apple, because that's how they were. But I makes up my bed every
Mhm.
day. Every day, I learned that from him. And so
Yeah.
every
And
day
we have
I
the
have
ability, thankfully, to pick up good things from people and incorporate it into our, into our own
exactly,
routine and
exactly,
stuff. So
right.
we
And
evolve
making
over
up that
time.
exactly. And those are you know what, and thinking about, instead of spirituality, it's those little things that can feed your spirit too.
You
Those
have to
little things.
recognize though.
And you have to recognize, okay, that little act right there, they're just making up my bed. It number one, it gives me a starting point. It gives me a say, okay, I've already got this stuff accomplished. I don't have to walk into this room and see stuff out of order, or there is a sense of order. For me, is a sense of order in my life when I have that bed made up. If I don't have anything else made up, that I have to have that bed made up. If I don't put the pillow straight up on it, I got it, the sheets tight and everything, and then I go back and put the pillows on it. But I can't move my day till that bed is made up.
Now, see, that's so funny because I've been that way my whole life. What I
Yeah,
have gotten to though is not having to have it totally neat made up. As long as the covers pulled up and the pillows where they supposed to be, then I feel like at least that I've done what I needed to do. It doesn't look like I just rolled out of it, and that's the whole thing.
exactly.
I just don't want to go in there and or even if somebody sees it, heaven forbid, I don't really care about that. I
Yeah,
care about what I think about it, and what I think about it is I don't want my bed to look like I never got out of bed for the day, right?
exactly, exactly. Or you know what? At this point, get out of that bed. I ain't trying to be confined to no bed. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you.
You know what? Get up out of that bed and make it up. Cause I ain't trying to lay there like that for real. Now I can go to bed as late as I want to, and I may sometime every now and then let myself sleep till 11 o'clock. But I got to get up out of that bed earlier because it's like I ain't trying to
Figure I
let
got
this day
plenty of
go by.
time when that time comes for me to sleep or for me to be in the bed, but I'm not bedridden and I'm not playing that on
Yeah,
TV. I need to
right.
get and move
I
and like a
get up.
person that's alive that has life in them. Yeah.
Right. Get up and get moving. It's
Mm-hmm.
those kind of things. It's those kind of things that you have to do to you know, feed your spirit,
Yep.
feed your well-being, feed your body, feed your soul, you know.
That's right.
It's
Feed your soul.
feed your soul.
Well, we didn't have anybody else join us today, but that's okay. We at 7:38. So do
Yeah.
you have something for us to hold on a second because I'm gonna change the banner. Have something for us to think about this week.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you this. Think about this. This is what I was thinking about. Think about the book. God's word is full of stuff to think about. Think about that because am I trying to find things to think about? And I told you I gotta replenish the little list of things that I had, but that's just how limited man is. But there is no limit on what you can find to think about in the word. So that's my thought is think about what you can think about in the word. Because I think how you open up, Kathy, that was great, about the boldness, but I don't really have everything that I have to think about. It gets back to the word at this point in time.
Okay. Well, I feel you and I understand, but as a motivational music doctor, I feel the need to get motivational messages out, and so they may all not necessarily flow in that vein, but they still
It's
have
all
the
right.
same intention to motivate you. So
Yes, yes,
you know, we do
yes.
it.
And that was a
We
great,
do it either
that
on
was
the
a
front
great,
end or the back end, but we still getting to the same place. Trying to
right. That
uplift.
was a good, and I like that motivation because just hearing that about uh hearing that was a good start. And for real, when you come forth with something like that, how I'm supposed to top that anyway? with something to think about, because you already started with something for me to think about. Boldness.
Boldness, baby, has make
I
it
guess if
move.
you get
The doing,
right,
it is the doing that is the magic.
right. And so I think about the doing. Yeah.
Yes.
Think
So
about
do
the
this.
boldness.
Open that
Do
book,
this.
like you said, just randomly open it and go to a verse and see if if it helps you, or try to even understand it. Even if you've read it before, read it again with an open mind and see if you get a different understanding out of it.
And even if you're not in that vein, I'm just saying the boldness part. Get moving, whatever vein it is, whatever it is that's on your mind, or everything you're thinking about doing, you know,
Make a
think
move.
about it.
Right.
Make a
Make
move.
a
Make
move.
a move.
Make
Think
just
about
one
making a move.
move can propel you. Just do one thing to move you
Right.
closer to what you love or what you want to do. Just one thing.
That's right.
Challenge you this
Right.
week. Just one thing.
Yes, right. Yes,
Check
right.
back in next week and see what one thing you did. All right. Well, I guess we'll call it a wrap today. And I'm just gonna say, on behalf of all of us, early happy birthday. And
Thank you.
hopefully you enjoy it. I'm sure you will.
I
And
will.
we'll be back next week and talking about some different interesting stuff. So we will
Yes.
see you next week, the same bad time, the same bad channel. I will say good night. Goodbye. Happy Independence Day. Happy birthday.
Yes. Happy Independence Day, and happy birthday to me coming up.
Right. Happy birthday to you. There's a couple other people. It was my dad's birthday. So happy
Going on the
birthday
4th
to
of
him
July.
where
So yeah, you
he
got a
is.
lot to celebrate.
And even we have a friend, Vita Allen. Her birthday is on the 4th too. So happy birthday, Vita. But happy birthday, Emily.
My nephew Divine, his birthday is on the 4th.
Yay! All right, all right, all right. See, I like to end on an upbeat note. So I will talk to you after your birthday.
All right. Bye bye.
Enjoy. Okay, bye.